I can't really get it right. I've been so alone, honestly, I think at night. I can't really fade, you can see it in my eyes. Deep down in my soul, you can see my despise. Running up, we got the gain, and it's freaking suicide. I don't really understand why we gotta fight, how come we can't coincide? Why she really tryna cheat, yeah, she really wanna get a freaking man inside. If I really find out, little baby, I might have to make your mama cry. Ooh, I'm so tired. She broke my heart apart, my heart on fire. Make it hit no to Mariah, my heart on fire. See, I'm a man, we cannot cry. Too much I can't change, but I cannot change for you. And they know I've been supporting, even though I know that they about to hate on you. I know that I'll go insane, if I go insane, then I'll bust a brain for you. I don't even got a baby girl, I really gotta eat your cake for you. Too much on my mind, I've been going out. Too much in my life, and it's getting rough. Baby, I understand, you just want the cuffs. You just really want to last, you never really love. See, you a liar. You think that you live like a princess, not a squire. All my homies, we got the bands, we not for hire. I got Nick Cannons in the back, you not Mariah. Told him to move, she cannot make all these plans. Move how I move, And if you don't wanna smash, do what I do. I know you capping, you smashed the crew. Oh my God. Yeah, right down on my roads, I can't really get it right. I've been so alone, honestly, I think at night. I can't really fade, you can see it in my eyes. Deep down in my soul, you can see my despise. Running up, we got the gain, and it's freaking suicide. I really understand why we gotta
Hello everyone and welcome back to the RSC. We are in season 13 now. You all know me by now, this is my 9th season as admin. But someone who recently joined us in the past season and has started showing his face a little more on our screens recently is Mallory, or Mal. Welcome.
Hi, you sounded like Hecky there calling me Mallory, but yeah, I came from the ERS conference draw, did that one, and then, you know, sometimes you just got to go for both conference draws for both leagues at the same week or so.
Yeah, I think the real name is Maliki. I'm just going off what Hecky calls you.
Yes.
There, but yeah, excited to be back for a new season. It has been the shortest off season in a very, very long time. I think we've only had 4 weeks off. I've enjoyed 3 weeks holiday, but I know Mal and Source have been knee deep in spreadsheets and bots over the past few weeks. So I'm sure they'll be glad of the new format that's coming next season. If you haven't seen in the server, a 1-year schedule. Mal, do you want to tell us a bit about that?
I mean, God, you've really put me on the spot here, but off the top of my head, it goes, start of the year, it begins with ERS. You get the ERS pre-season, and then I believe with a couple of changes, the RS season is intended to be 9 weeks plus however long for playoffs. Basically the same format as the RSC one. Then we get a couple of breaks week around summertime, I think it is off the top of my head, and then normal RSC length season followed by their playoffs, all of the All-Stars and stuff like that. Then a break over the winter time and over Christmas, basically.
Yep, so pretty much one season per league per year. Going to be ERS 2024 and RSC 2024. It's got a better ring to it than the seasons, in my opinion. Makes it feel a lot more special. Obviously, people get bored after playing a lot of seasons and a lot of Rocket League. So, looking forward to the new format and obviously help our staff have less pressure. But back to the stream, we've got the conference draw today and the draft lottery. So we'll be seeing who plays who, and obviously what picks the GMs will get in draft. And for the new people, obviously draft is it this week, Friday and Saturday?
This weekend,
it's coming up so quickly. Yeah, so if you don't know about the RSC and you've signed up, go into the bot input of the server, type in ! new player or PFA or whatever you've signed up for, and you'll be able to know a bit more. I advise reading FAQs because we are a draft league and with a lot of complicated rules compared to the ERS. But let's get straight into it. A £1,520 prize pool this season, sponsored by Team Hosky and Team Serene, and we'll start off with the first team out.
I mean, it's coming up, and it is DSQ now. I mean, I know DSQ, you know DSQ. Quite a few people will know DSQ because I believe they are returning and have been around for a couple of seasons now, if not more. As you said, I'm quite new to RSC, so I tend not to know much. But I don't know if you know anything about DSQ more specifically.
Well, first off, can Source just remind me which conference we've started with?
The suspense builds.
Yeah, I think it's the end of me. Ignis. So DSQ have gone into the Ignis conference. So let me just check that this is being filled in the back end. There we go. So DSQ and Ignis, they did have, I think this is their third season in RSC. They did take a season out due to being rejected and advised to come back in. What's the word? How to put it politely? With better aesthetic and better drive for the players because there wasn't great communication in one season. So they came back and did reasonably well last season.
Yeah, and I believe while this wheel spins again, all of the first 5 are going into Ignis, if I'm correct. I mean, Source will correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember him mentioning that. And next up is Illusory. Now, Illusory, once again, I mean, there's quite a few returning franchises, so I'm going to keep saying that quite a bit, but Illusory, it's alternating. Okay, I've been told it's alternating,
yeah, it's alternating.
So
always
we
alternating.
are okay. See, this is why you get someone who knows what's going on. But I mean, yeah, Illusory, another returning franchise, and I believe it's still headed by Rahu.
Headed by Rahu, but AGM'd by Simsy this time and not Hoggy. It is their third season back, and they had their best results yet in RSC last season. They had, I think it was 4th place finish in franchise standings, so a really good performance there, and finally got the first Premier team this season now. So
I was about to say, heading into the season, that is a slight change that I believe every team has a Premier team now, as opposed to just 16, was it before?
Yeah, 16, 15, top 15, and whoever won it in the previous season. But everyone does get one now, but Illusory would have got one as a 4th place spot. But we move on to Ignis again, and it is Charmin Esports, and I'm glad to say that we've got someone on the back end filling these in now. I trust the admin Olden Steve.
As long as nothing goes wrong,
Charmin
it'll be all fine.
Esports. Yeah, Charmin Esports, a regular to RSC. This possibly could be like the 5th or 6th season now. And Papusa has returned in the head role. Cynics has stepped down. Papusa's returned, and he's got Lesepi as an AGM who's new to RSC.
I mean, new AGMs are always good because it's a great way to get yourself into the league as a whole, because it's quite hard to come in as a completely new franchise. But if you ever want to be a GM in the league, it's always nice if you start as an AGM for someone and then end up becoming the GM. And speaking of new to the league, We do have Council of Sir. Now, I know this one is GM'd by Kingsman. He's been around a lot. He's on some staff teams, and I believe it's AGM'd by Simdog, who he's okay at the game sometimes.
Sometimes. Usually one of the first people who messages me asking to go down in CMD. But yeah, he's good sometimes. He has finally found himself at the bottom of Challenger now, so he'll be hoping to have a good season on a roster that he can build and he can have. But yeah, Kingsman been really successful as a GM at Valkyrie Knights. Unfortunately, Valkyrie were on the reserve list due to Kingsman leaving this time. And he goes over to Council of Sir looking to replicate that success over there.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a great job already, so I don't see why he won't be doing a good job on Council of Sir. Also, I believe it was Friday who asked, why is there a black background behind Fort Templar? There's also the same problem with Team Serene. It's just the website that we're using doesn't like it for some reason. We don't know why, but it just causes it to be completely transparent in the background rather than an image on top of whatever background it is. But as the wheel spins, and I believe this is for the Glaciers conference now again, we have Might of Hades.
No, this is for Ignis.
I've lost track. Someone distracted me.
So this is aptly put in the Ignis, the Fire Conference, and it is Might of Hades on the logo, as you can see. A little bit of fire there. And they haven't had the best seasons at Might of Hades. They've had a couple where they've shone a little in like Rival. I think they won season 11 against Symbiotes in a reverse sweep bracket reset. God knows how that happened, because that was against my franchise and it was ridiculous. But we were winning 3-0 easily, and then all of a sudden Senji starts crying at the end of the stream and they win. But yeah, they go into the Ignis conference. They'll be looking to have a solid season again. Did reasonably okay with Slimy last season, but Senji's returning, so they'll be hoping to improve results on when he was previously GM.
And I mean, I heard there was a great screenshot that came out of there. I believe it was season 11 draft involving you and Might of Hades.
I prefer not to speak. But we move on to Glacies, and it's Visionary now. What can you tell us about Visionary?
Well, Visionary, unless it's changed, is headed up by Hunter Sam. I believe he's replaced his AGM, because I believe it was Avelios before, but I think it's changed now, but I don't know who it is. Who is their AGM?
No, it was Maxi last season as well.
Oh, was it? Oh, was it the season before?
The same franchise management, yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm just getting confused with the RS. See, this is the problem with two leagues, but I mean, they've always done a good job, and Hunter Sam, I mean, he tends to know what he's doing, and I mean, as it spins again, another franchise that usually knows what they're doing. They've got a bit of a bad AGM or GM. Sorry, I'd recommend replacing them, but I don't know what you think about their GM.
Well, they seem to do better in the Prem tier than some of the draft tiers. They did do really well in the Elite tier last season with Wolfie heading that team. But obviously they bring Team Hosky in for Premier every season, and the past 2 seasons they've won. Season 11, a bit of a shock. Season 12, not so much. But yeah, a good franchise headed by the right people, and aptly coming in for like their 5th or 6th season now. They finished 13th last season.
I was about to say they tend to get good results. I mean, Mamba's not happy with me slamming his GM or him as an AGM, but Ox Gaming next up on the list now. That is definitely Hecky. I know Hecky's the head. I believe is it Punky who's the AGM?
Hecky and Punky, yeah. So this is a stable franchise management that's been together for 3 seasons now, I think. They've always been in the Challenger tier together. I'm sure they play ranked together as well, because their ranks just stay the same all the time. But they will be looking to improve this season. They had a 20th place finish last season, 134 wins, which was 20 behind 19th place. That is the second time they have finished bottom in 5 seasons, but in the other seasons they have finished in and around the top 10. So they will be looking to make sure that it isn't a 50-50 rate on finishing in the top 10 or bottom.
definitely. I mean, you never want to end as that bottom person, especially not by a massive margin. But on the opposite end of it, I believe if I have my numbers correctly, we have the team that did first in franchise standings this last season, or at least was definitely towards the top end.
Yep, they were first. 209 wins, a full 6 ahead of Green Phoenix. 189 goal difference, which was the best in the RSC across all 5 tiers for draft. So, and that was a new GM last season in Big Chebs. He took over Andre. Andre had around, I think, top 10 finish, or like maybe 11th, 12th in that franchise in the first season, and then Big Chebs won it last season with Sinksy as AGM. So I think they'll be looking to improve. Well, you can't really improve on a first place finish. They'll be looking to be consistent and keep that spot.
And I mean, I think they have improved heading into this season, replacing Sinksy with Spacey as the AGM, I believe. So, I mean, I see Sinksy in chat.
Yeah, next up, we've got Ophiusa Esports, a brand new franchise to RSC, but they have been in ERS now.
Yes, they. I believe they were headed up by Nexfoc and Dynamo in ERS in previous seasons. In RSC, they are here with Dynamo and Laroni with GM and AGM, and I mean they've always done pretty good in ERS, so it's looking good for them already in RSC. And here we have a bit of an overview of the ones we've got so far. So for the people who weren't sure which conference they were in, at least now you can see where you are.
Yeah, so Ignis, DSQ, Might of Hades, Panthera, Sanctuary, Shaman, and Glaciers have got Council, Sir, Illusory, Ophiusa Esports, Ox Gaming, and Visionary. And we head straight back into Ignis.
And I mean, I'm hoping, I don't know how many more new franchises we actually have on this list, but it seems like Glaciers is heading to be the division or the conference of all the new franchises. But Fort Templar, not a new franchise, a very, very well known franchise with it basically being owned by Friday. And I think this season it's headed up by D-Lynch and Edgy, which is it a new GM and AGM, or is it just a new GM?
A new GM and AGM, and a new logo with it as well. Fort Templar have declined in the past 1 or 2 seasons. It was mainly a fun franchise last season with Skates heading it up, but they did finish 17th. They'll be looking to bring back the glory days, because under Friday this was a fantastic franchise. So I think D-Lynch and Edgy can bring back that prolificity, for, if that's a word, for Fort Templar.
What I will say is momentum as the next pick along, being Potter and a bit of a surprise to a lot of people, including me, Mock as the AGM now. Mock, I mean, he's joined the staff teams, but aside from that, yeah, it's not really someone I expected to see as an AGM anytime soon. Mostly, Potter needed an AGM heading into this season, so had to pick someone. He believes in Mock. I definitely think it'll be an interesting season. I'm not going to say either way because I can't say for sure how, because I've never seen him actually do any managing for a franchise. But as a first season for him, he'll be looking to do well.
Yeah, I denied that position a few times before he got mocked. I think Potter wanted to play with me in Rival, but I've no interest in management anymore, so I'm taking a break. Just don't get me on Night of Hades in draft, please. But we move on to Team Serene. I think that is back in Ignis. Yes, it is. Team Serene was where I AGM'd last season and GM'd by Serenity. I think joining him on the AGM side this season, Mal, is Luke MD. I think you know him a bit better from ERS.
I know him a bit better from Uni and ERS because we are on the same Uni team together. But I mean, he's GM of Team Serene with Serenity as AGM and ERS. I think this season was the other way around last season where he was AGM. Last season, Team Serene did very well. This season, they're poised to do very well in both leagues. I think they did well in RSC and ERS last season. So, I mean, it's a franchise that's always done pretty well.
They got the first top 10 finish last season. I don't mean to brag, but I was the AGM. So. But they did get 2 top 3 finishes as well in Prospect and Rival. But moving on to a new franchise as well. I think there's only one left after this. We've got Click, and that is an ERS franchise already, Mal.
Yeah, I don't know what for sure. Let me just check my list of people, but I believe it is Oldham Stee, as the GM and Lynx as the AGM. I mean, Oldham Stee, he's an admin. Can't say mean things about him, but I mean, Lynx, he's been a GM or an AGM somewhere else, hasn't he already?
I mean, we can't say mean things. We're the head admins. He's an admin.
Oh, that's very true.
He can't,
Yeah,
he
that
can
Old
only go
Hamstee,
for the
not very
top.
good. not a very good GM, that Old Hamstee guy. But no, yeah, it's a good franchise.
This is
They've
where
done
he
well.
manipulates the sheets now in the background. But yeah, Click's first season in RSC. I think they're in the second season in ERS. I
Yes.
think they finished second in franchise standings last season, so a really strong finish in that league. But we head on to the next one, and it is the final ones of our new franchises, and that is Alpha Surge, headed by Conflict now.
Yeah, I know they were trying a couple of seasons to get in, I believe, and also they are the first new franchise to be in the Ignis conference, I'm pretty sure, this season, so that's a good start for them. But it is, yeah, Conflict and Skaze. I mean, I've already said they tried to get in. They finally made it in this season, so they have everything to prove, to show why maybe they should have been in previous seasons, and definitely why they should be returning next season. But for sure, they are another one of the franchises. They're new, they need to prove their worth, and I think they have the right people in charge to do it.
Yeah, indeed. And heading into Glacies will be Sistema Salaries, I think that is. Yep. The oldest franchise in RSC EU now, with Yannick as the longest serving GM. There has been no changes in GM with this franchise, which is the most consistent thing about this. And he sometimes had bad seasons, sometimes was good, but when they are good, they are really good. I mean, we saw it with the RS last season. I think he finished as the best franchise last season and finished, third in RSC with 201 wins. So it was a great performance across 2 leagues last season for Sistema. Well, that means they'll just have a bad season.
I was about to say, that is always the thing when you're doing it across 2 leagues, is that it can cause problems in one of the 2 leagues, but they did a great job. And another franchise in 2 leagues, their debut season in ERS this season, I believe it's their second season in RSC here. They did win at least Rival this season. I don't know how they did in other tiers, but it's the same GM and AGM, so hopefully a similar performance in whatever tier at least Snow plays, since he won Rival.
Yeah, it was a really fun franchise for people. They really care about the players. If you look at it at the league table, they did finish 15th in franchise standings, but it was a whole 12 wins above 16th, so they were really in that middle bracket. So didn't perform terribly, and they'll be looking to kick on here and getting in a Premier team like Sentient Esports as well. They'll be looking to have a good run at the top tier as well.
I mean, that last spin there was so cool. I couldn't quite tell if that was Forg or Green Phoenix there, but Green Phoenix being the next pick. And for people asking, if there's an odd number of franchises on your screen, it means the last pick was for Ignis. This pick here is for Glacius because there's an even number on the screen. Green Phoenix, headed by Stingray and Crimes Yoshi. I believe it's the same people as last season. They won like every single tier, it felt like, so they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, they won the first 2 tiers in RSC, and you could pretty much say that they wrapped up franchise standings there and then. But Panthera almost had the comeback, but they did have 203 wins in franchise standings, making them second. They do really prosper with draft. Green Phoenix, they do really utilise it well, whereas some franchises go pre-made in RSC or trying to bring in mates. But we have Shadow Esports in Ignis and Forge in Glacies for the final 2 picks. I'm sure Source will go over to the summary screen in just a second. What can you tell us about Shadow and Forge, Mal?
I mean, Shadow, headed by Mr. Efficiency and Mithril. I'm pretty sure they performed about middle of the pack last season. They're same GM and AGM as far as I know. And then we have Forge, Rapids and Cubby this season. Rapids GM, Cubby AGM. I think that has changed since last season, where I believe Axelos was the AGM, unless that's ERS that I'm thinking of. But I don't think they did as well. I know their challenger team was knocked out pretty early on in playoffs when they were expected to do well. I don't know much about any of the other tiers, though.
Yep, Shadow finished on 149 wins, but finished 12th in their first season of RSC, and then last season they finished 9th with 189 wins. So only a 3 position buffer, but an extra 50 wins on top of the first season. So a really good season by the new management in Mr. Efficiency and Mithril. They've stuck together this season. But Forge always seemed to be in the top 5, especially Axlos when he was at Arctic Frenzy as well. And it'll be different for Forge this season. I do think they've got 2 talented players and scouts in Cubby and Rapids. Obviously, Rapids being the GM. But Forge have always been in and around the top franchises, so only finished 10 below Panthera in wins last season. So they'll be looking for the new management to keep that up this season.
Definitely, and I think just because he's in chat, replacing Axlos with Cubby, it's a very smart move to do. That Axlos guy, I've heard he's not a great AGM.
Yeah, and Axlos is in chat saying it was his worst placement as a GM last season. So fifth isn't too bad as a placement for a GM in the first place. So if that's your worst, then good luck Cubby and Rapids.
But yeah, I mean, we can now.
Got in Ignis, Alpha Surge, Alpha Surge, Azteca, DSQ, Fort Templar, Might of Hades, Panthera, Sanctuary, Shadow Esports, Shaman Esports, and Team Serene. And in Glaciers Mal, we've got
Council of Sir, Forg, Green Phoenix, Illusory, Click, Momentum, Fuchsia Esports, Ox Gaming, Sistema Solaris, and Visionary. Sorry, I forgot that last one for a second there. I can't believe I forgot Visionary.
Yeah, just before we move on to the draft lottery, is there any franchises there that you look at and think this is going to make a great conference? Any rivalries there? And is there any franchises that you think could blossom in these conferences? Say like Ox, where they finished 20th last season. Do you think this is a conference that they could shine through?
I think there's definitely a lot of question marks in that conference. I mean, I mentioned it before, but I believe all but one of the new franchises this season are in Glacius, so they're all trying to prove they're better than each other. But in the same vein, in Ignis, you've got Alpha Surge chilling there as the only new franchise in that entire thing, so they've got a lot stacked up against them in terms of franchises. They're all franchises that we know are pretty good, have historically at some point done well. So Alpha Surge with a lot to prove there, and I think maybe it's on the returning franchises in Glacius to show that they have what it takes to beat all the new kids on the block.
Yeah, 100%. We've got a few people in the chat saying Azteca versus Sanctuary. I know there's a lot of friendships over there, but it is going to be tough for Alpha Surge. I mean, all returning franchises, all experienced people, it is going to be very tough for them. But I believe that Conflict and Skaze can do a job. Skaze already has GM experience from Fort Templar. I'm looking forward to what Click and Ophiusa can do. Obviously, new franchises in that conference as well. And obviously Council of Sir, but Kingsman's been there and done it with Valkyrie before. So I'm interested what Daimo and Oldham Stee can do as GMs.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I can't, like I said, the ones that have come in from ERS, I can't see them doing badly because they've all historically in ERS done well. And I mean, it's different format, but I still feel like the exact same principles from ERS follow across to the draft, just that it's a bit harder to maybe get the players you want.
Indeed. We will move on to the draft lottery now. This is where my voice takes a little bit of a break. I'm going to let Mal bring the hype for the run. I know some people still prefer the old marbles, but again, if someone wants marbles, make a track. We'll trial it and we'll bring it back. But here we go with Prospect.
I mean, Illusory.
Is it Master first? I can't remember.
I don't know. We'll figure that out while I talk them. But I mean, Illusory started with a mad dash there. Council of Sir have just leapt into the lead towards the top, and Green Phoenix, they're trying to get second place right now, not really being able to do much to catch up. Although Team Serene and Sistema Solaris sneaking at the bottom, they could maybe catch up here, but I think Council of Sir, they've got a strong enough lead that they could take it quite slow, and that is probably going to be first place. Council of Sir, they get the first pick. Green Phoenix in second. Team Serene, Click, all of them. Ox Gaming, Forg, Systema Solaris, all of them are starting to finish now. Might have Hades on the other hand. They're trailing behind a little bit, and they are going to end up last here.
Indeed.
I
think Senji was running that race. Yeah. But yeah, we've got Council of Sir, a very good first pick. I have been confirmed that it is Prospect as well. So Council of Sir, brand new franchise, Kingsman, with his success over Valkyrie, will come in and get the very first pick in the Prospect tier. Click at 4th is a very good pick as well. Illusory 9th after their great season. But then we start to see the lower picks in Ophiusa 12th and Alpha Surge being 19th. Isn't the ideal start that you want to a draft lottery?
I mean, at least if you're Alpha Surge here, you can say maybe if your prospect team doesn't do well, it's just because you got that early night or that very late 19th pick in your first round. But yeah, Council of Sir, they're going to get, unless they make any trades here, they're going to get a prime pick for that first prospect player.
Yeah, indeed. They could use that very wisely to get up in other tiers, but we'll move on to Challenger now that we know the tiers.
Oh, wait, we got...
quick recap.
We got the full list.
Yep. There we go. So yeah,
I mean, Alex already ran us through this list.
Yeah. So we'll head straight into Challenger, I hope.
Let's hope. I mean, I know a team that maybe that won't be after many picks here will be anyone that has a GM and AGM in the same tier. So we're thinking like Azteca, they don't have a very, very high skilled GM or AGM. But as the race goes on, speaking of Azteca,
Council of Sir and Team Serene again.
Yeah, there's quite a few front runners. At least this time, Might of Hades isn't at the back, but Ox Gaming and Momentum battling for that first place spot. Fuchsia not far behind, but Azteca sneaking around at the top, and Team Serene, they're doing really well with their luck. Momentum with a mad dash. It is very close. First for Azteca, second for Momentum, third Team Serene. Then we get a Fuchsia, Green Phoenix, and then so many other teams finishing at the same time. It seems like our middle of the pack. They all finish at the same time, but now it is that race for last place. We have DSQ and Forg both very far behind. I mean, you said you thought that Senji might have been running for Might of Hades. I think Rapids might be running for Forg here because, I mean, they're finishing a good 20 seconds later than 19th place. What's going on there?
Yeah, I can't remember the word for opposites, but yeah, Rapids being last in the race, it doesn't really ring true there. But we look at what the positions for the prospect tier was, and we're looking at Ophiusa getting 4th this time. They were 12th in the last race, so that's brought their average up a bit. Alpha Surge, not so lucky after a bright start, 13th. They were first initially. So was that 19th that they got last time and 13th?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
not a great start to draft lottery here. Council of Sir going from 1st to 11th, but we've also got Team Serene 3rd and 3rd. This is looking very, very good for them heading into the trading from tonight.
I knew there was someone who didn't want to get very high up, or at least didn't want to use a pick very high up, and turns out as it was Potter on Momentum with him as a keeper pick. So I don't think he's. I mean, he can use it for a trade at least if he wants to keep himself. I'm pretty sure Mock is also a Challenger tier player, so I don't know whether they're planning on playing together or whether one of them's non-playing, but hopefully for at least them there, they can trade it away for another good pick. But yeah, someone pointed out in chat, I can't remember the exact placement. Let me just scroll up and find what they said. It was Kajir saying in Prospect, Koz got 1st, Azteca got 11th. In Challenger, we see Azteca in 1st and Koz in 11th. So it seems like they're already trading spots, and we haven't even made it to the trading part yet.
Yeah, I think we are going to head straight to Rival. We are going to recap everything at the end.
And I mean,
but yeah, as you were saying about Momentum, it's not great when you're around one keeper and you're like just keeping yourself there. You really do want to draft someone, so Potter's going to have to be on the trade to try and get like round 2s and 3s out of that pit. I know he's very shrewd in his trade. So.
Yeah, as this race goes on, I will say whoever wins this first place, I said whoever gets first has to draft me. So heading into the draft weekend, you are going to draft me. Forg is looking to be likely as the first pick. It is whether Illusory's mad dash at the end makes it. Illusory first, Shaman, just making it third with Forg sneaking in. Momentum's fourth, finally a high placement for Alpha Surge at 6. And as the rest of them slowly come in, we see Azteca and Team Serene. They were towards the back, but they've made a final dash to sneak it through. And somehow, out of all of that, Fuchsia ends as 20th. I didn't expect them there. I thought maybe Azteca. But they made it like 4 or 5 places higher. So, I mean, it's a great last dash from them. Unlucky that maybe they didn't get as high as they wanted. And a couple of the new franchises towards the bottom now.
Yeah, it's not the worst pick if you look at Team Serene's roster from last season. They do have Pile of Dodgers at high round 1 player, so they probably won't be able to draft there anyway. It just means that they won't really be able to trade up. But Ophiusa being 20th in their first season, that is far from ideal. We move up a little bit. We see Click 13th, around the average. You kind of want to get up there a little bit more, but 13th isn't the worst for them. But heading into the top 3, Illusory, Forge and Shaman, 3 experienced franchises, as well as Momentum and Systema, giving them some really good pick value in Rival as experienced franchises. But we've got Alpha Surge finally getting up there in 6th.
And I mean, yeah, Momentum, similar to how Team Serene did. They've had 2 pretty good placements. Team Serene, sadly, their luck ran out. Maybe Serenity ran out of breath. He just couldn't keep sprinting these 100-meter sprints because he really didn't place well there. But, I mean, there is at least the bonus of, as you said to me beforehand, if you're 20th, because it wraps back around, you then, I'm pretty sure, get 21st pick. Am I right?
Yeah.
So you've at least got some good. You've got some good there, even if it's not a great first pick. You've at least got a pretty nice second pick. So you've got that. But I mean, we jump across to Elite now as the countdown begins. Let's see who we get as a good first sprinter. Momentum charged out fast. Might have Hades. They've traded to hold the lead, but a Fuchsia is an early one, holding ahead. Visionary sneaking around at the bottom. They're quite hard to see with the lines. Alpha Surge and Momentum seem to be the 2 front runners right now as they edge down, but Systema Solaris trying to get a dash out. They've stopped dead. Momentum aiming for another high pick here. They have a massive lead with Alpha Surge. They're trying to catch up. It's not going well enough for them, but Momentum could lose it all here as Fort Templar and Might of Hades right behind them. It could go either way, but Momentum looking to be the first place. Fort Templar going for second. Visionary getting third. Alpha Surge for fourth. Green Phoenix fifth. And then just so many more franchises finishing in the middle. It's so hard to list them all off. But Team Serene, it's not going well for you anymore. I mean, they've stopped dead at their last place. It's another very low pick, and they finally finished to get that 20th place.
I think Team Serene's runner developed asthma after the second race because 20th and 19th after finishing third twice just goes to show that these can balance themselves out. It isn't all smooth running. But Momentum, having a really good few draft picks at the minute. I can't remember where they finished in Prospect. I think it was around the bottom 10 maybe, but in the last 3 alone, they've finished in the top 7. So, yeah, Momentum looking very strong going into these picks. And Fort Templar being second. Maybe Friday can do something in Elite with... I mean, I don't know whether he's going back to Fort Templar, but maybe you could build a strong roster around him.
Definitely an Alpha Surge. I don't know if you mentioned it, but they got a pretty nice one. Team Serene, I mean, Serenity's in chat saying who hired that runner. I mean, to be honest, it was probably me running, and I would like to apologise, Serenity. I'm not great at these 100-meter sprints, and I've really ruined it for you here in Elite. But it's fine because, I mean, you're basically an Elite player, so you'll be fine. You can just keep yourself as a keeper pick. Maybe say that's the reason why you did so bad. But as we jump across to Master now, and I believe this is the last one since you don't have a draft for Premier, so we will see a Fuchsia maybe getting a very high placement here. They've started out pretty well. Alpha Surge sneaking along at the top. Sanctuary, they're aiming for their first place. I don't think any team so far has had close to 2 first place aside from maybe Momentum, but Shaman down towards the bottom. They are running it out. Momentum charging up. They are definitely now in first place, but can they hold it as Alpha Surge, Shaman, and Systema Solaris? They're all trying to catch up. Momentum, they have a lead. They just need one big dash before this end, but Alpha Surge has snuck ahead. Who will make this last dash? It is Alpha Surge first. Might of Hades doesn't manage second. They get fourth with Panthera sneaking in third. Loads of teams finishing here. DSQ, they're quite late on, but Team Serene, another low finish with 16th. DSQ ending in 20th with Illusory in 19th. It was a close race for that last place, and it was a pretty close race for those higher spots as well.
I just want to say, I know Potter's on our staff team, but this is not rigged. Momentum have just done really well in draft lottery. No one's got odds on this, but Momentum have got good odds of going into every single tier and putting good teams together. Alpha Surge, though, had a bit of a topsy-turvy across the 5 tiers, but in the tiers that they've got the top 10, it's looking good for them.
Yeah, I mean, completely unrelated to anything that's happened on these races. Potter, you know what my PayPal is, so everything will be fine on that front. But yeah, I mean, Team Serene, they've had some unlucky things, but at least we can say it's not completely rigged, given Serenity is an admin, so if it was rigged, you'd see him doing incredibly well. But we can finally go back and see the picks without having to have the race on it, and it's just a nice, more easy to understand laid out position here, I think. So do you want to talk us through prospects?
Yeah, so these will be posted in the server later on in league discussion for, obviously, discussion. But the top 10 is Council of Sir, Green Phoenix, Team Serene, Click, Systema Solaris, Forge, Ots Gaming, Panthera Esports, Illusory, and Shaman. And obviously when you get to the 20th pick, the draft will revert as a snake format, so Might of Hades will get 21st, Alpha Surge 22nd, Shadow 23rd, etc., etc. We'll move on to Challenger.
Yeah, I mean, Potter definitely. I mean, we mentioned Potter's trading, and I think with how good of a pick he's had across all of these, I mean, he had 13th, 14th on that last one. He's got second here. I don't think he got much lower than second on everyone past here. As Azteca first in this one. Team Serene, they had a nice running in the first two. I think they got third place in both of them you mentioned, and a Future Esports new franchise, Might of Hades, Green Phoenix, Ox Gaming, Visionary, Click, another new franchise, and Fort Templar. But I mean, the top 10, they're all going to be happy with their spot. As we've mentioned, past 10, it gets quite late to maybe get those best ones, but 4 down at the bottom. Not going to be a great position for their Challenger roster, but I've heard their GMs about Challenger nowadays, so I think he'll be fine with it.
Yeah, Potter is in the chat. 14th, 2nd, 4th, 1st, and 2nd. I've been doing this 9 seasons, and I think that is the best I've seen. I know Symbiotes and Fort Templar have had a couple of 3.7 averages, but I think Potter's is going to beat that.
That looks like, at a quick glance, I would say about a 4 average, just because of that 14th throwing it slightly further off. But there you go, 4.6 Kingsman says, so it's slightly lower, but it's also good.
Yeah, we'll move on to Rival, I think.
Yeah, remember who? I think it's Illusory who came first here. Yeah, you need to pick me first. Those are the rules. I said it to all the GMs. Whoever gets first pick, I rigged it for them so that they could pick me first. So I guess I'm going to be playing Illusory this season.
Well, that's that, and I'm also curious about where I'm going to go because I've finally dropped into Rival as well. And Might of Hades are 12th, so I'm hoping it is before the top 12 spots. But Illusory, Forge, Shaman, Momentum, Systema Solaris, Alpha Surge, Visionary, Panthera Esports, Shadow Esports, and Fort Templar are your top 10.
And speaking of top 10, I've just been sent the averages by source. Looking at the image, we had obviously Momentum with an average of 4.6. The next lowest average is Visionary with 7.8. So they didn't do too bad for themselves with 13th, 8th. Yeah, it's still a big gap, but they had 13th, 8th, 7th, 3rd, and 8th again. So they've still got good picks, but I mean, compared to how Momentum's done here, that's just unlucky for everyone else, really.
Yeah, indeed, but the top 10 for Elite is Momentum there again. Fort Templar, Visionary, Alpha Surge. Again, we said Alpha Surge had a few dodgy tiers, but I think they finished 1st, 4th, and 2nd in 3 of the tiers. Green Phoenix 5th, Might of Hades 6th, Sistema Solaris 7th, Click 8th, Sanctuary 9th, and Forge 10th.
Looking in chat, Conflict says 19th, 13th, 6th, 4th, 1st. So, I mean, the runner slowly got more warmed up. He was getting ready. It's just a shame that he didn't start out great, because maybe they could have had a great average. But yeah, I mean, there's it felt like quite a few of the new franchises just got a bit unlucky here, maybe getting lower picks than they'd want, given they basically have to draft every single person as opposed to. I mean, they get inherited contracts, don't they? But maybe they won't want some of the players.
It's quite kind of ironic. We've got in the chat as well, Mutshuk, obviously one of the admins, but they've performed not very well in the draft lottery, 15.6 or something like that. But they did suggest a different format for drafting this season, the draft lottery, where everyone gets a fair pick, and you pull it out of a bag, and everyone's got predefined positions. However, the GMs didn't like that, and they preferred this fun thing, and Shadow have yet again been punished by the law of averages. So
I mean,
it's down to the GM now to try and work their magic and try and trade, and this is the magic about draft lottery as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the impressive thing, even though Team Serene did so horribly in the last three, having no picks higher than 15, I think this was the highest pick they had after the end of or after Rival or later. And I mean, they still had higher averages than teams like Illusory. And I mean, DSQ, they had the worst average. They did only get 120th place, but they had a 19th place in Challenger. I think the 20th place here. Alpha Surge, as we said, doing way better. Momentum, they paid us off, so they got a good spot anyway. Panthera doing well. I think their average, it sat around the middle, which is where generally you'd expect a team to have. But Might of Hades, they got a good pick here in Master. Azteca with a solid 5th place. Shaman 6th. Council of Sir, new franchise with 7th. Visionary in 8th. Click 9th. And Forg down in 10th. As we've already said, DSQ, they're all the way down in 20th. Probably not what they want as a Master pick.
Yeah, but that is the recap for your conference draw and the draft lottery. So thank you for joining us on this stream. We hope you've had fun. We've enjoyed casting it. We will be back very soon for the draft in RSC. We are trying to arrange the All-Star Show matches as well. Just bear in mind that we've only had 4 week off season, and the admins have had no time off during that. So we've got the ERS to prepare, we've got the RSC starting. So that's the reason All-Star Show matches have been delayed. Obviously, I've had a holiday as well, a long-needed break for about 4 years where I've not been away. Heading into RSC, the draft is on Friday and Saturday. We've got a 1,520 prize pool, as you can see, 700 again for Premier, 400 for Master, 200 for Elite, 100 for Rival, 600 for Prospect. 600? 60 for Challenger, and 20 for Prospect. That's my brain telling me I need another rest.
Well, what can we say? You Prospect players are going to be happy.
But we've also got the £40 RSC Cup again. We had a lot of positive feedback about it, with maybe 1 or 2 negative comments about not really wanting to play against teams above or below and getting railed. But in general, it was a very positive tournament, and we're going to be doing that once a week again. It's just something different for the league, really, especially next season when it's just going to be 1 league per season. It's good to have something like this as well to add to it. Do you want to talk about the RSC Red Bull land now while you're at it, since you've been on the tournament team?
I might as well. We've been we've been planning. I've just got a message I don't want to read. I'm going to pretend I haven't just read it in the admin chat. You might want to read that in the tournament admin chat, Ark. But in terms of everything, yeah, it's on Saturday the 23rd. We have player arrivals starting at 10 a.m. with signups also starting at the same time, going on till 11 a.m. Then we'll have the fun of a very quick morning draft from about 11 a.m. to 11:45, and then we have the entire league itself, or the entire tournament itself, I should say, from 12 p.m. till 9 p.m. Now we have, I believe, off the top of my head, 72 places for players. So if you do want to take part, I mean, right now we haven't hit the 72 people in the response form. I think we're close to about 50 or so. Not sure how many are actually players, but still, you want to make sure you get there early so that you can make sure that you get your spot, because it is first come, first serve. We will have other events and things going on. I think Ark knows more about those than I do, but it's going to be a fun time, so hopefully we'll see you there.
Yeah, indeed. Obviously, there is a few comments about it being first come, first serve. When it comes closer to the event, at the minute, all we've done is put a pre-interest form out. So at the minute, we aren't determining who's getting spots and stuff like that. When it comes closer to the time, if we know that people have spent hundreds on coming over from like on flights and stuff, then we'll start to prioritize people. But at the minute, everyone is in the same boat. All like people want to come to this event. And we can't just say to 72 people, yeah, you can attend, and then not have any audience. It'll just be pointless. We want the audience. We want the energy there. We want people enjoying themselves. Even if you're not able to play in the 3v3 tournament, we're going to have at least a 1v1 tournament, I think, and we're going to have prizes across the day as well, like RSC jerseys and snapbacks and stuff like that. You also get to experience London if you're coming over from another country. So yeah, it's not just doom and gloom if you don't get accepted. There is other stuff to do, and hopefully we see you participating. It's an awkward situation for us because we know there's more than 72 people wanting to play, but that's the drawbacks of a big community, or the benefits of a big community, however you want to look at it. So yeah, just understand that this is how we're trying to work as best as possible. We'll have more information when it comes. And yeah, hope you've enjoyed tonight's stream. We hope to see you on draft on Friday and Saturday. Please do tune in for that. It's our biggest event of the year, all the time, every season. We have around 400 viewers usually. So it's a big one. Obviously split over 2 days because of time limits. So yeah, I think half of you get drafted on Friday and then half of you get drafted on Saturday. That's it from me, really. Thank the sponsors, Team Hosky, Team Serene, Gamers Apparel, and Badass Studios. Obviously, Badass have been kind enough to try and get this LAN in place for us. So you will meet some of the team there. So be ready to meet and greet them. And Mal, you got any closing thoughts?
I have one question for you related to the draft. Do we know who's doing the draft yet, or has that not been fully decided yet?
I haven't decided yet. We don't know who's going to be on it yet, but I will try and sort it out. Because obviously, last time I offered to do it, I got drafted somewhere I didn't want to, and I heard things behind the back that I shouldn't have got drafted till the end. So I'm not having that happen again. So if I can find 2 people to replace like me, then I'll get them. But if it comes down to me and someone else, then there we go.
Sounds good. Well, that's all I've got to ask. So I guess that's us done then.
Yeah, indeed. Again, thank you to the sponsors. Thank you to Source sitting in the background. I know he's been ill tonight. I know he wants to go to bed. So everyone thanks Source in the chat. He is feeling a bit under the weather. And we'll see you on Friday. Good night.
Yes, thank you, Source. Goodbye.
Let's not roll it, let's not hold it, let's not drink it, chop it up or smoke it. All I need tonight is your voice. Can we roll it? Can we hold it? Can we drink it, chop it up or smoke it? Can we peel it? Can we pop it? Cause we don't like feeling these emotions. Can we try it? Can we find it? Can we